Hey gang, Rodin here. Welcome on back to the Cade and another episode of Suckerpunch Sunday, the series where we go back in time and play a classic fighting or fighting platform-based game from the 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th generation. And for this week, to coincide with one, us hitting 75 episodes in this series now, and two, to also commemorate the new year of 2025. Hope you had a safe and happy holiday wherever you are. We're going to go back to 1994, and we're going to play a game that was far and away one of my favorites in the arcade at the time, but was never ported onto a console that I am aware of. It was originally and only put on the CPS2 arcade game platform created by Capcom, and I'm playing it because I'm able to do this through my WinKWax Neo-Geo emulator. But we are going to play one of the best shoot 'em up action games of that entire decade. If you were a kid back in the arcade eras of the mid to late 90s and you saw this puppy available, you were either there or you were waiting in line to try it out. We are going to play Alien versus Predator. Now, in the 30 years since, these two franchises have gone in vastly different directions, and of course there's a lot of IP out there from when these two coincide. There's movies, there's comic books, there's everything. But this was the first major video game that I remember where you had both of them at once. Now, how this game works, as you see, is pretty straightforward. It is a run and gun action game where we will be having to fight off as many Xenomorphs as humanly possible and to stay alive. Now, we get two Predators we can choose from, or two human characters. So we can either take the Warrior Predator, we can go with Kurosawa, we can go with Predator Hunter, or we can go with Schaefer. I'm just going to start with the Predator Warrior, because why the heck not? Now, each character has different weapons. In this case, the Predator Warrior has his spear, and he has his shoulder-mounted laser gun. And your ability to use melee combat in this also allows you to pick up items and hit the ground. So the general consensus is that, or the general idea being, this is very much like a sci-fi Streets of Fury. Or Streets of Rake, or Final Fury. Let me put it that way, get my names right. And as far as a button masher goes, this is one of the highest caliber. I love the graphics in this game. They didn't follow us in. Why? That's why, because it's a trap. So we've already hit our first boss. And having the spear is really helpful because we can keep this guy at bay. But as you just saw, we can lose it if we take damage. And you want to be fairly... You want to think about the shoulder cannon as your special move. So while you are inflicting maximum melee damage, your shoulder cannon will overheat if you use it too often. But then again, if you can corner these guys like this, then you just go to town and you wipe them out. Now, this was one of the, like I said, one of the more popular games of the mid-90s in most arcades. And you would think that that would have earned it the right to be ported over to any console at the time. You would figure Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, the Neo-Geo was still kind of in its final stages at that point. Or you have it ready to go for the PlayStation Here they come. Oh, I took the heads off those first two Xenomorphs. But it defies logic that it never was released outside of an arcade. I mean, think about it. The amount of money that Capcom probably made... Flamethrower. Just in having kids go in and adults go in. Let's not forget, adults play arcade games too back in the day. And hammer these cabinets. I mean, the amount of pounding they would take, and I don't mean in a negative way, I mean just being an absolute button masher. And what that comes down to, I think, is the fact that because Alien vs. Predator is a joint IP venture, the parties that were owners of both probably stepped in to make sure it never saw the light of day on a console. Which sucks. Because I know they would have made a killing from this. Because if you look, I mean, graphically, it's great. You know, you're using probably 24-bit graphics, which would have worked just fine on a PlayStation at the time. It would have worked on the Saturn. Hell, it would have worked really well on the Dreamcast. Uh-oh. I've been grabbed. Ow, 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 ow. Need that. So I beat the mid-boss. But the music is good in this. Everything is really well defined. You know, being kind of a 2.5D with this wide avenue that you're working off of, it's not hard to control everything. Everything is really easy to follow. You don't get really overwhelmed by... I mean, you get overwhelmed to a degree by Xenomorphs. That's what they do. What happens when you're dealing with hive beasties? Oh, this is going to be ugly. Now, I can see why this part of it probably would not go over well. Well, pulse rifle's already gone. If I have one gripe about this game, it is that the super weapons do tend to go a bit too quickly. But we still were able to put him down. It only took one continue.
Time to hunt.
And we get the mask off and everything. Now, in Japan, this game was listed in 1994 as the third most successful table arcade unit in the country. In North America, Replay reported AVP to be the most popular arcade game at the time. Playmeter also listed it to be the 6th most popular arcade game at the time. GamePro gave it a maximum score of 5 in all 4 categories: graphics, sound controls, and fun factor. EGM, Electronic Gaming Monthly, hailed it as everything you'd expect from the makers of games like Street Fighter II and Punisher. Ow. So we have to use the laser cannon here to get through this level right on the back of the APC. And as somebody who grew up in the late 70s, early 80s, and loved Aliens much more than I did the original Alien, and I don't say that to besmirch it now. I think the original Alien is one of the... I can put it up there on my Rushmore of one of the most perfectly executed films of all time. If you really get down and examine it, and I have, to a fairly mind-numbing degree, it is a brilliant film. But I also, if I have to choose between the two to watch, I will watch Aliens every day of the week and twice on Sunday. It, to me, is one of the... That's on the Rushmore of not only one of the great sci-fi movies of all time, but one of the great sequels of all time. You know, people look at movies like The Godfather 2, The Empire Strikes Back, stuff like that, and go, well, that's better than the original. And they are. I'm not, again, not damning either one of those movies with faint praise. Empire Strikes Back to this day is still my favorite Star Wars movie, and it always will be, which is not something I thought I would have said when I was a 5-year-old Padawan back in the early 80s, just loving everything about the original Star Wars. Now we get the flamethrower. Ooh, but I'm going to overrun here. And then when Predator came along in 1987, a lot of people kind of looked at it and went, oh, it's just another Arnie flick. All right, let's change it up here. And let's take Kurosawa. Now she, as you can see, has a gun. Poor wretches can't be saved. No, they cannot. Ah! We have Xenomorph spawn on us.
All right.
Now, her main attack is just hand-to-hand with a knife. So I used her gun a little bit too much. But having the M141A pulse rifle, that does not suck. But in keeping with the great Alien tradition of having a female antagonist, it makes sense to have somebody like Kurosawa in this game. Now, granted, she's not Ellen Ripley, and I appreciate the fact that they didn't try to make her into a Ripley clone. Only because if you have not played Alien Isolation yet, you get that sort of character and that sort of story, who just also happens to be Ripley's daughter. And I'm not spoiling anything by giving that away. The game's been out, what, almost a decade now at least, as I recall. Go away. Ouch. Ah, but now she gets her katana. Or had it, and then she lost it. If anything, Kurosawa was much more like Vasquez in Aliens. Because Vasquez, being one of the two heavy gunners along with Drake, was very much the sort of person who would be fighting a Xenomorph hand-to-hand. In fact, her end came about because she lost her pulse rifle, or her pulse rifle ran out of juice. So she had to fight off one with just a pistol, which is what obviously Kurosawa has. And like so. We had a Xenomorph who could block.
All right. All right. All right.
Blast 1. Blast 2. And I love the fact that the Xenomorphs in this are very much like the ones in Aliens in that they come out of the walls and they're all curled up and meant to be hard to spot. That's creepy. Alright, let's see if we can go any further with her. Now we got super ammo for a second. That's what that countdown timer is. 3, 2, 1. And we managed to put the Royal Guard down. Now, unlike most games at the time, I appreciate that this one does not have a level timer on it.
All right. All right. All right. All right.
Facehugger! Get the bento box. Spitters. If anything, you watch this game, and I go back and I think about the first time I saw the trailer for Alien no, Romulus, not Prometheus. The newest one. And just how many Xenomorphs and how many facehuggers they were all dealing with at like one time. And I haven't seen Romulus yet, but I've heard that it is very much an amalgamation of pretty much all the really good Alien movies that came before it. So think Alien, Aliens, maybe Alien 3, but I'm to this day, I still have never seen Alien 3, and I'm not interested in it. It has nothing to do with David Fincher, it's completely about the way the storyline was done. Alright, come back here, you scraggly little bugger. There. Now we can get moving on them all. Except the problem is she doesn't have enough reach. So, let's try the Predator Hunter. And you see he's got a much bigger pig sticker than even the regular Alien Warrior had. Which is good, because we gotta fight Queenie. And we died already. Whew, that didn't take long. Alright, well now we're going to try and see what we can do with Major Schaefer and his big old metal fist of beatdown. And he puts the queen on her butt. Now, in 2017, the toy company NECA, N-E-C-A, announced they had gained the license to the video game, but they would only be producing figures based on the characters, starting with the aliens and the predators. But there's still been no talk of this game ever being ported onto an actual console. Which is a shame. You would especially think 30 years later, there would be a way for them to figure it out where it would be doable. I got it. I do have to admit, part of the issue I have playing this game is that nothing to do with the controls or whatever. Is purely because of the fact that for the last 3 days, I have been playing an entirely different game. I have been playing Balatro. And if you have not played that game, and... Alright, dude. Give me that chain gun. Come here, Marine. Give me that. I got it. That's what I want. Oh, we gotta fight the loader. But yes, I've been playing Balatro pretty much non-stop since I got it on sale on Steam. And it's only $13 US. I think it's $11 in the UK if you're watching this overseas. But, oh my god, that is an amazing game. And I say that as somebody who had not bought into the hype on it, and I was kind of like, finally saw enough about it, I was like, I'll check it out. And then I did, and I'm glad I did. Because it's got to be one of the most inventive games that I have come across in decades, and I am not being hyperbolic about that. Oof. Ouch. Still have the fire breathing or Dhalsim's fire graphic from Street Fighter 2 in this game.
I got it. I got it.
Now we're getting so much stuff that I can't hang on to one item for too long. No, you can do it this way. I was talking with my sister about it earlier this morning about how I've been playing that game so often for the last couple of days, and she was like, it's really that good? And I said, think about it this way. I took advantage of the Steam Christmas sale, which I don't normally do, and I also took advantage of the PlayStation sale to get new games for my PS5. I got The Witcher 3 on sale, the full game, for $9.99 for my PS5, because it was normally $50. The game's been out forever. I've played Skyrim to death in the best possible way, and I'll keep playing it. But I had heard a million things about how Witcher 3 is arguably a better game. And part of the problem was is that I didn't want to necessarily drop $50 on it. At least not at the time. There, finally took him down. I also got Spider-Man 2, the full game, on sale on PS5. And then I got Dark Souls 2 on sale for Steam, because I've already played Dark Souls 1, as we've already highlighted on this channel. That was one of our first bonus runs. So people were like, well, you should try Dark Souls 2. So I got all those games, and then the last one I got was Balatro. And I've played Balatro more since the middle of last week than I've played anything else, by a long way. Like, I haven't even touched any of those other games. That's how impressed I was with it.
I got it.
So let's see if we can get through this 6th level. There's 7 levels total in the game.
I got it. Crap.
So in some ways, this could qualify for a one-day playthrough as well. Now, granted, you can get through this game because if you play it on the WinCoax emulator, you can pump in infinite quarters.
I got it. I got it. I got it. I got it.
I've got a whole freaking armory here. Nothing but heavy pulse rifles here. That's one way to use the elevator. I don't think I'm going to be able to break it in time. With 0.37 seconds to go. Perfect. Sometimes it's better to be serendipitous than proficient, and I was definitely serendipitous on that one. And now I will take my bloodied pipe and come out here and bash some skulls with it.
I got it. I got it. I got it. I got it. I got it. I got it. I got it.
Who is it? It's the plumber. You bring a knife to a pipe fight. That's cute. Thank you.
I got it.
All right, bust through this door.
I got it.
Pick up all the goodies here.
I got it. I got it.
Something's going on back there. Let's check it out. Bright boy there, Major. All right. Go away. Come through the door again. Oh, we got big boys now. Full-blown arachnoids. And I like how the soundtrack is slightly indicative of James Horner's original score. Which, if you don't know the backstory of how the late great James Horner came up with the soundtrack for Aliens, it's actually worth looking into because it came about truly at the last minute. Like, Horner was right up against it to get the score done before the movie was supposed to pretty much go out to theaters. And Cameron had spent so much time working on the effects and the sound and everything else and consistently tinkering with it that Horner finally said to him, look, if you want a soundtrack, dude, you better give it to me now, otherwise you're not going to have one. And Cameron was not exactly pleased to hear that. He's like, well, I'll go find somebody else who will get it done in the time I need. And Horner, to his credit, didn't back down. He said, okay, you bring me that person and let me know, because I can only imagine they will teach me something that I don't know if they can pull this off. And he did something that very few people have rarely been able to do in film history, and they got James Cameron to back off. And the result is actually one of the more understated, but now one of the most often used film scores, at least a couple of film tracks in movie history. So now we have to take on a mad predator. Al. Let's party. And the campiness of this game, as far as the sound bites and everything, I have to admit, is part of the appeal. It's just campy enough. As I've been torched again. Body slam. And I am toasted. We're already over half an hour. So you know what? I'm going to call it good here. But that, everybody, is Alien vs. Predator for the arcades only from 1994. Now, let's get the usual particulars out of the way. Is this a good game? How else can I put it? You damn straight it is. As far as being an action platform fighting game, like I said, this was one of the best of the 90s. Hands down. It was right up there with X-Men. It was right up there with The Simpsons 4-player arcade. It was up there with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It had everything that you wanted in a good, well-rounded action cabinet. And again, it's a shame and a crime that we never got this on a console. And we should. You know, in 2023, Time Extension did their list of the best games, best beat-em-ups of all time. This was included on it. In 2015, Hardcore Gamer included it among their 200 best games of all time. In 2013, Capcom stated more fans have been asking to receive an HD remake than any other of their retro video games. Think about that for a minute. That was 10 years ago. 12 years ago now. And Capcom still has failed to be able to put it out. And it's to their detriment in the amount of money that they could make. And unfortunately, if they tried to make it now, I think people like me who remember playing it in the arcade would glom onto it. But younger gamers, I don't know if they'd go for it like we would. Because again, Alien and Predator and Alien vs. Predator was very much a product of that time. I remember when Dark Horse Comics came out with the very, very first Alien vs. Predator comics in the late 80s, early 90s. And if you've never read them before and you like both franchises, they're really, really good. And that really is what spurred the whole mashup between the two franchises. And then that's how we got this game. That's how we ended up getting the movies and so on and so forth. So it's, I think, one of those great misses that could have been something really special, both for gamers and for Capcom, to have capitalized on it when they did. When the window was open to do so. Now I think the window is shut. And now we're just left with this great game, which again, you can play if you get the WinKWAX emulator, WinKAWAKS. It's version 1.65. It's the last version they ever came out with for it, but it's still the best one. And you can find on the Internet Archive copies of this game and play it that way. So again, that's why we wanted to highlight it. It's one that should have been on a console, but didn't get there. But you can still find a way to play it. So if you're like me and you remembered playing in the arcade, it's not lost. And that's why we wanted to highlight it this week. So again, that's Sucker Punch Sunday. Thank you very much for tuning in. And thank you for everything you guys did for us last year in helping us continue to build the channel. We saw a quadruplicate in our subscriber base, which was massive. It's not a lot. We went from about 60, 70 subscribers to over nearly 250. But a fourfold growth is nothing to scoff at. And we could not have done that if you guys weren't willing to tune in and see what we're putting out there. So we're extremely grateful to everybody who did that. Be sure to tune in, as always, to Sports Saturday. We're back in the fold with that, doing our What If playthrough on Sega Sports NFL 2K2 of building the New England Patriots dynasty. I need to slow down here. Without Tom Brady, we lost yesterday to the Indianapolis Colts. It's our first loss of the season, but hope is not lost. We still have a long way to go. We're also going to be kicking off our continuing playthrough of Super Robot Wars Alpha Gaiden for the PlayStation 1 from 2001. New episodes will come out again Monday and Wednesday. One editorial note, those are no longer going to be sliced up into smaller episodes, just simply because the amount of work that we have to do to try and pick and choose where to do those cuts, and then the missions themselves don't really offer that much of a gap to be able to do that. So, and also because we're within about 10 or 11 missions of the game being over. So we would much rather get it done and put the episodes out in their entirety if it means we can get it done quicker and then we can move on to our next playthrough, which will not be a strategy game, but more news on that as events warrant. In the meantime, my name is Ronan. It has been great to spend the Sucker Punch Sunday with you. It's great to be back, by the way. We're rested, we're recharged, we're looking forward to a happy and wonderful 2025. God knows we're going to need it. Be safe, be well, happy gaming. We'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.